Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Cosplay with Rena. And as you can tell from the thumbnail and the title of the video, we're actually doing another update video on my KITT Replica project. And the best part, it's about 98% complete. There's still a couple of tweaks we're actually gonna have to do in here and there, like the lighter foot pedal that is also accurate to what we saw in seasons 3 to 4. As well as the marine speakers that are going to be in the engine bay that will be connected to the whole control box for the scanner, which will help bring to life, including the sound effects, phases, even the turbine sound. So therefore, if you join me in this video, I'll guide you through on what you missed out on from what we saw the last time. So let's get straight to it. Unfortunately, during the process of finishing this car, that also means that there's some parts I didn't actually get a chance to film, but I'll explain it as best as I can throughout the process. So when it came to being the dash inside the actual 3rd gen Trans Am interior itself, it just took a bit of trial and error. Like some areas, let's say modify where the plastic trim is, we had to cut off that access just so it would fit in nicely, and some Velcro down there so it will be nice and secured. Mount on some custom aluminium brackets just so it keep it all supported in throughout every trip, as well as aim a rubber doorstop on the upper console arm just so it would support the weight on the dash itself. So when it came to the electronics, you actually got the power, normal, auto, and pursuits. But Diginary did actually say that these buttons were actually touch sensitive to where you can actually change mode drive scenes like in the show. But since we actually added this acrylic plastic anyway, just to make it more kind of like instrument panel, we thought of a creative solution, and that is by installing these little buttons down here with the labels set correctly. So, for example, if I wanted to select the drive modes I wanted to, I can go from, let's just say, from normal to auto to pursuit, and pursuit back to normal, and normal back into pursuits. Another thing that is also accurate to the show, along with those lights, if you look at the voice box, you can see the same reason. So yeah, that's basically the creative mind that we actually put into it, just to not only make sure it functions like in the show, but also keep it more practical and wise for our needs. So and also right up to the speedometer here, we actually wired this up to the actual Trans Am speedometer, and we actually wired this so it would read in kilometers rather than miles, which in Diginary does actually include a little chip onto it. We can actually switch the chip from if you want it to read in kilometers, or whereabouts where you are in the world, you can switch it into miles if you wanted to. And when it came to the tachometer, the speedometer itself is also connected to the stock Trans Am, where it reads how many revs it is. The injet, the inlet, and the oil lights are both dummies. The oil light, the oil gauge, and the fuel gauge is also accurate, which I can actually tell from looking at it. I'm almost out of petrol, so pretty much not the right time and the place for that to happen. So, and also the fuel flow gauge just right next to that actually activates when it reaches that many revs. And we also got a functional compass as well, so it actually has a sensor hidden somewhere in the dash. So it'll, like if you use soldiers, then it's basically we're basically already in east, sort of, but a bit on south, so yeah, it might come in handy no matter how lost you are. And also, and just as before, we got the iconic turbo boost button. Brings me back a lot of childhood memories. And also this black button right about here is also the power button for the scanner itself. So if I just turn this on here, you can see the surveillance mode bar is also being activated once the scanners turn on. And just like in the show, you can actually adjust the speed, so you know, so if you want it on quick, or if you want it on slow, or somewhere in the medium. So we'll just get back to its normal setting. And if you want the scanner off, you just turn it right off. Now for the actual CHR screen, we just use a iPad mini that I got secondhand, and I basically edited in a little animation that's taken from one of the scenes in the show, and we basically just put it on a video loop. So basically everything that you've seen here, like, it's about a 15-minute long video that will be on repeat, which might come in handy in certain car shows, or if you want to show it off, so it'll, like I said, get a lot of heads turned in. And also along the way, we actually got well, I wouldn't say this radio is accurate to seasons 3 to 4, because on the actual car, this section right up here was supposed to be the radio, but since I knew this is going to be a dummy display and I wanted to make sure that it has these retro futuristic vibes, we actually got this radio from K.I.T., which I gotta say is a must-have if you're doing your replica, because it's got the accurate styling, accurate lights, accurate knobs, and it's supposed to be like a retro-looking radio, but with modern technology. So definitely gonna keep that in mind if you ever thought about doing, let's say, not only like any KITT replica, but also if you're doing other 3rd gen Trans Am that you thought needs a good looking radio. So, but other than that, we actually got to talk about right up along here. My dad cleverly just actually thought about covering the wires up along here by using some aluminium plates and bend them into shape, wrap them in vinyl, and one side is screwed into place and the other side is we just use some Velcro, so it's easily versatile if you want to do any minor repairs onto it. And as you can tell right down there from before, because it's 98% complete, we haven't actually inserted the pedal yet, so that's something I might have to update on you guys whenever I get around to it. So when it came to the lower console, like I mentioned before, there's actually a rubber door stop right up along here, just so it could support the weight on the dash itself. But also, the last time we saw it, you could tell it already has holes for the power window switches, which I also installed in place. And for those of you who wanted to replicate this lower console, be sure to look out for the 82, the 84 style Trans Am power window switches. And if your Trans Am has power mirrors like I have, there's many different creative ways on how you can install the power mirror switches. I've seen some people who installed theirs right down here onto the console, or just not wire them at all. But what I actually did is I basically installed them right about where the arm was, next to the shifter, so it's easily reachable. I mean, surely it's not going to be screen accurate, but it basically helps it make it a fully functional vehicle to drive around in and get a lot of heads turning at car shows. But other than that, we'll talk about some of the hidden mods. So another question I'm also going to get asked about a lot too is how do we install the upper console in place? Well, before we even get to that, we'll have to talk about the last bit of wiring that we actually done to it. So on the back here, we got like a little power switch right up along here for the interior lights, so it's there for emergencies. And also as for the push buttons themselves, we've basically got access to another KITT tone generator and wired it up onto each button throughout each key tone, so that whenever you press a button, so for example, and once we got that out of the way, I think we got to talk about how we mounted it onto the roof. So now we talked about the electronics. We actually got to talk about how I installed the upper console in place. Now, the upper console I actually got from K.I.T.T, which I highly recommend it whenever you get some of this parts. It is already a snug fit on a standard third T-top headliner, but it requires a sort of bit of nooks and crannies just so it will be nice and secured in place. And one of them is we have to ratchet strap until it's also nice and snug, drill out some holes with these little brackets that we made from aluminium and vinyl, drill them in place, and it's not going anywhere. This is sort of like a little pro tip on if you wanted to replicate your own kit yourself, if you're having trouble on installing your upper console. But you just gotta keep in mind too that you can actually go for what I actually did here, or basically sort of like the studio accurate version of kits where it's a bit rough and ready. But other than that, we'll have to look at the rest of the interior. Another little prop that I actually thought about that'll actually go well with the car whenever I'm showing it off is a little prop owner's manual, which basically covers in all the features such as like from seasons 3 all the way to season 4. So yeah, that's something you might want to look into. And with the owner's manual, I'll be leaving a link down in the description below if you want to get one for yourself. And technically, the beauty part about this particular manual here is that this was actually written by one of the Knight Rider historians. If you haven't checked out their YouTube channel already, I would highly recommend it. Currently at the moment, they're actually restoring one of the screen used flag trailers and tractors from the actual show. So be sure to keep an eye out one of their videos for their process, and hopefully there'll be one other of these screen used vehicles that'll be back in its former glory again. That's about it for today's video on kits. And if there's any other questions that I actually missed out on about the car, please leave a comment down below and I'll reply back to you as soon as possible. And so without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram for any tips and tricks. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. And one man can make a difference.